Good afternoon, everyone. Strange electrical phenomenon throughout our skies. 2/3 of the average lightning strikes in a single storm west coast. Inverted funnel clouds reaching to the heavens. Noctiluscent clouds again this year, incredibly early, record low latitudes. And something called a green ghost, first sighting, a new electrical classification. And because of low planting, European Union now decline for the wheat forecast. 50% of all small businesses not coming back. A record collapse in the S&P. This is exactly what's happened to every Grand Solar Minimum. And when you see the overlap between 79 AD and 2024, perhaps it gives you a wider view of really what's happening and how much of an orchestrated play this is by the governments across our world. In today's world, it's critical to stay healthy and eat foods that give your body the nutrients it deserves. Have you visited oliveoil60.com yet? This groundbreaking blend of C60 olive oil has been proven to support immune systems, slow down aging. Carbon-60 is a powerful molecule acting as a nano-antioxidant that stabilizes and neutralizes free radicals that assist with detoxification, helping your body function at optimal performance. The proprietary ESS60 formulation delivers more than 172 times the power of vitamin C. You can mix it in your salad, rub it on your steak, dip it in bread, or like thousands of others, simply take a healthy teaspoonful. You can purchase ESS60 in 3 tasty organic flavors: olive oil, avocado, and MCT coconut oil. People claim to sleep better, feel healthier, and have more energy when they take oliveoil60.com products. Get your ESS60 oil directly from the lab, oliveoil60.com. The link's in the description box below. And as I was searching lightning phenomenon, this image here, Philippines. This was last year's eruption. The amount of discharge from this, unprecedented, never seen before at this level. And here we go. West Coast. 87,000 lightning strikes in Washington State and periphery border with Oregon. And what it turns out to be, between 62 and 75% of the entire year's strikes in a single storm. What is going on with the uptick in electrical phenomenon in our atmosphere can easily be explained by a decreasing magnetic field on our planet in the sun. As our sun begins to go into this grand solar minimum, we got the polar wander happening, and all the gas giants are lining up out in one quadrant of our solar system. Expect electromagnetic effects with volcanism, earthquakes, and electrical signs across the atmosphere. How anomalous was this? Well, when the storm began, they're like, wow, it's 25% of the annual lightning strikes in a storm. But as they were calculated and increasing, moving through the day and through the night, it turned out to be 72% of the entire year's strikes in a single storm. Now you can see how heavily bunched up this was here. And now, being on the windward side of the range, can you imagine watching that front come in? Less than every second, multiple lightning strikes. And going back 11,000 years in time, when we exit out of the last glacial, you'll start to see these dips in temperature, and we're at another one right now. These are actually called the civilization cycle dips, because when it gets cold, everything contracts, collapses, evaporates, and restarts again when the climate becomes warmer so we can grow food in a stable manner. We're here now again at the cool. It explains a lot of what you're seeing with the economy, the distractions, and everything else across the planet that makes no sense to you, 0 sense. So again, you start to look for things that would be unusual and once ever and never seen before. 2017, we had Steve, the plasma filament, first time ever sighted, becoming so common now that mainstream science needs to come out and explain it, because you're going to see it in the skies. They even say it's a new way that atmosphere creates glowing lights. This is following a magnetic field line down. It's just becoming so highly charged, it's termed glow mode, that there's more of an electrical input into it, so bzz, you can see it with your naked eye. And as well, the plasma filament ropes being a brand new phenomenon. We have something here, green ghosts, classified a year ago. But the actual photo was 2014 the first time, but it was barely visible and they didn't know what they had. Now they're starting to really capture the actual green luminescence on the left side after the discharge from the sprites themselves. This is the difference between the photo on the right and the photo on the left. So the difference from 2014 moving forward is they started to see some color change at the top of the sprites, but now as it discharges, it leaves a total green halo after the red is completely out of visible sight. Earth's negative charged crust, positively charged atmosphere, global electric circuit to the sun. Sun changes, Earth changes. They call them green emissions from excited oxygen sprite tops. Ghost. And a lot of these electrical phenomena, you have to ask yourself, is it truly the first time that we've ever seen it? We just have to go back further in time and take a look at what the ancients have left us and what the petroglyphs were on canyon walls and what all the ancient myths and legends were about, lightning bolts from space and everything, and boom, we can match it up again. We're just so smug with our new science that we don't believe anything from the past. So Squatterman would be the most famous that we'd be looking for. The center part of that body is exactly what we're witnessing with Steve. It's just the arms and the head aren't electrified enough to start spinning there. But that center section, that's the plasma filament rope Steve. Now this has been cited globally, and it all is the same representation of the electrical phenomenon, plasma displays that were witnessed in our heavens. References to the same thunderbolts from the skies, and then these sprites are starting to match up what can be replicated in a plasma laboratory and also what's on 6,000, 8,000-year-old stone carvings. So this has happened once before. The ancients left us all these warnings that things were going to change in the skies. There's so many biblical texts about it. Almost every religion and belief system around the planet talks about these changes, and when you see them, there's going to be a change of the age. And this year, Noctiluscent clouds appearing even earlier than last year, and then last year's whole display had record low latitude sightings. Clear down to Los Angeles. These things were once polar clouds. So you cannot tell me that there's this much atmospheric disturbance going on, and it's just a random happenstance, all at the same time that this grand solar minimum and effects from the sun are forecast to start kicking off into a new cold era. And these strange cloud formations in Wisconsin, of course they're going to baffle meteorologists, but if people are understanding electrical phenomenon, the global electric circuit, Eugene Bagashov would understand what this is. Meteorologists are only baffled because they don't understand the electrical input into the whole system. This, in my opinion, is following a magnetic field line up to the sky. You can't see it, but it's there. All these things can be explained if the science would actually adopt the idea of more than just CO2 changing our atmosphere. That's electrical input, but you can't tax that. Now back to the usual way that you see funnel clouds and tornadoes stretch from the clouds down to the ground. At least 5 waterspouts. Same time. Laguna Bay, Philippines. And the question that should really be asked is, what are the changes that are now allowing multiple 3, 4, 5 waterspouts to descend at the same time? Something with the vortices in the atmosphere, the way the cloud cells, air circulation patterns are shifting. I think it'd be too scary if you knew the actual full workings of how the sun changes, and so does our civilization. And speaking of that, Global Wheat Report here, U.S. Wheat Associates. Through several of the last videos, I was talking about how late the planting was due to the lockdown, and farmers weren't able to get into the fields at the regular rate they were, and supply chains had difficulty delivering inputs. Now we're starting to see it in earnest what's happening. All the rosy forecasts, they came out in March and April like, oh, it's going to be record production. Yeah, stabilize the markets. Stabilize the markets. But just yesterday, the European Commission sharply lowered its forecast. 7% down. Now, by the time we really get to the end of the year, it's going to be far more than 7% down. So will China. And the contracting economy and the changes we're seeing in our atmosphere and the constriction of global agriculture, it's all intertwined. It's all intertwined. So when we're looking at half of the businesses, small businesses, saying that they will not reopen, and we have Walmart going into the second-hands good reseller market, thrift store, because China is cutting off all exports to the United States. Governments across this planet know exactly where we're going with this grand solar minimum, food crop loss, reset of society, a restructuring civilization cycle. They're just not letting you know. And governments across the planet, from Japan to the United States, they can print as much money as they want and buy back all the assets, but printing more money is printing more money. And this Q1, January, February, March, S&P 500 earnings post-record declines. So what you're looking at here is going to be continued. And I will leave you with this chart that I put together here. 79 AD above, 2024 below. And perhaps this is what the ancient knowledge that's been hidden from us is all about, controlling the masses by not giving you the information of the cycles. Because if you knew this, you would have structured your lives entirely in a different fashion. And I go into greater detail where I can't talk about some subjects here on YouTube over in Patreon /Adapt2030. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you got something out of it. Moving through these changes, the mental game comes first. Understand that we're not going back to the way it was before. Things are going to be permanently changed, and you'll just have to move through the different changes as they appear. And if you're able to do that, that's going to be the greatest mechanism for survival. Then you can get onto the food growing. Then you can get onto the self-sufficiency. It's not going to be the other way around. Your mind needs to move first, and then the body with the action. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.